And we are live.
Hey, hello, how are you tonight?
Yeah, thank you for joining us on Truth and Light. We're just gonna switch it up a little bit tonight and do something a little bit different. So I hope you guys truly enjoy it. Yeah?
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of beliefs out there in regards to what happens when someone transitions from being in physical and passing away and going into their spirit life. Yeah, like how long they hang around. Do they come back and visit? Are they stuck here? And so we're just going to have like a casual conversation about all of that and just, you know, share our beliefs and our thoughts on that. And please feel free to add some of your own in the comments, right? We would love to hear from you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And if you have anything to say, you can also call in too.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, our number. You're usually really good at having that number.
No, that's okay. Our number is 678-223-3319. If you would like to call in, again, our number is 678-223-3319. If you would like to call in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Hope to
call it.
hear
You can
from
leave
you.
us a voicemail at any time, and we'll play it on air, and then you can catch us live and see what we have to say. You can even catch our recorded versions afterwards, right? So we would
Right,
love to hear
right.
from you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dana, I hear that spirits can kind of get stuck here and they're kind of trapped here in this realm, after they pass away. What are your thoughts on that?
I think some of them can be stuck here if they pass quickly. I think it would be very tough for them because they're not quite sure how to do this, or maybe it was because of their religious background or something that may say, "Hey, it's not your time," or "You need to stay here because you're not a Christian," or something like that. I think it would be a good possibility of them staying here until they can figure out how to get to the other side, or meet up with somebody from the other side that can help guide them over, or someone of the living can also guide them over. Yeah.
Yes. I love what you said about that they could get stuck here because of whatever beliefs that they had during living. And, that's so important to realize that we all have different beliefs. And so whenever we pass, we may be so dedicated or married to those beliefs that we don't allow what's naturally supposed to happen. Right. And honestly, I don't know exactly.
Right.
I mean, I'm alive and so I haven't had a near death experience, but I've definitely heard of them,
Mhm.
and what happens. And so that's intriguing. I like that thought. I will say, so, um, me and my husband built a house, and after we built the house, I was going around and talking to a little boy that wasn't even alive, right? Like I didn't see the little boy, but I knew I was answering questions that a child would ask, right?
Mhm.
I mean, like, I was a vacuum cleaner and I use it to get the dirt out of the carpet, and this is a dryer, and I dry my clothes after washing them, and once I realized it was a young spirit that was there, so I reached out, so I'm a medium myself, but I reached out to another medium and realized what was going on and learned how to talk to this spirit, right? To actually have a conversation versus me just answering all of his questions.
Right, right.
Right. And so kind of found out like he passed away there on the land in like the late 1800s, and his family had to leave him there because
Mhm.
they had to continue on with their travels, so they had to bury him there. And
Oh.
so I ended up, the medium that I met with, she channeled a little girl in her channels. And so I was like, hey, can this little girl that you channel come and help the little boy that's at my house? And I mean, that's what happened. I
Yeah.
mean, and so, I channel him today, but he's free. Like he can go home, he can come here, he can come play with your dogs. He likes to play with people's
Awesome.
dogs for some reason, right?
So how did this other spirit help this little boy out? Has he said?
Yeah, so basically her name was Maitland. So what she would do is she would come over and she would play with him and then she would leave. And then she'd come back a few days later and play with him and then she'd leave. And so they got to know one another. And he's like, well, where do you go? When you leave, where do you go? And so she's like, well, come follow me and I'll show you. And so, like, they had to build that friendship and that bond first before he could just go with her, right?
Stranger danger. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's basically what happened. Excuse me. So, yeah, I mean, that's just so, interesting. How a spirit can help another one, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
yeah. I
So
mean,
what
it
do
means
you
just
think?
reaching out.
Yeah. What do you think about helping somebody that's in the midst of passing or something like that's in hospice kind of situation? What do you feel about that?
I
Of
think it's
helping them
important.
along?
Yeah. So I volunteer hospice. And just for that reason, and I don't go in to say, oh, it's time for you to go. And I volunteer hospice, one, to help that person, but to also be an observer of what's happening. Because it's very interesting what happens during those stages because they'll receive visits from family members and loved ones that have passed on,
Right.
and it is just so interesting. And really, only thing these individuals that are in these last few days, they just want to know that somebody cares for them. Because many of them get into hospice, and there may not be family members that can come and sit with them, and just be with them. And being a volunteer of that, I can go without the burden or the emotional attachment for the passing of this individual. I can go just to be there with them for that moment. And I think it's easier for the volunteers to do that, and it gives those individuals what they need during their last days. They just need company. They just need to know they still matter and they haven't been forgotten and they're still loved. So I'll sit there and sometimes I'll just hold their hands or I'll just talk to them. And there's this one lady I used to go see, and we would be like in the TV room, and she would be like looking somewhere and she's like, do you see all of them over there? And she's like pointing, there's nobody, I can't see anybody. But she's like, you see
Right.
all of them over there? And so it's just like he comes here and he talks to me. Like, so it's just interesting. And I just love it that I love observing that because it just means to me, it just gives a validation that there's much more than just living and dying. Like, it's just the physical that dies, not us. And there's a continuation on after that. So
Right.
what is that, and what it looks like. And yeah, I mean, I love it. My stepdad passed away a few years ago, and it was really interesting. Um, Me and my mom were in the room. He was in hospice, and we were in the room, and he had been there probably about 3 weeks now. And it was the first time just her and I alone were in the room. And we had some really hard conversations about our relationship, and how we felt about certain things.
Hmm.
But then at the end of that conversation, we were good. We had found, we had found peace in whatever was happening, right, between the two of us.
Right.
And she's like, "Well, I'm going to go outside and make a phone call." She steps outside to make a phone call.
Mm.
Probably about 2 minutes later, the nurse comes in and she's like, "Go get your mom because he's fixing to have his last few breaths." So I ran outside and I got her, and we came back in, and I mean, he just passed just moments after that. And you could just see the relaxation. Like, you could just see everything just leave his body because his body just went so relaxed, you know. And one, I think it was a deep honor to be able to witness such a thing. But also, I feel that he waited till the moment to where her and I could have had that conversation and came to the place that we came at in our relationship,
I
you
believe
know?
that is what a lot of them do. The ones I have experienced is I believe they were waiting for that certain time because we all have that contract of when we're going to
Hmm.
pass, but we still have the free will of
Hmm.
exactly when we're going to pass. So I feel it's that way. For the example of my mom, we had the conversation that she didn't want to leave us kids. She didn't want to leave the family and everything. And I got to kind of thinking about what she was saying, and I went back to her and I go, "Mom, it's going to be okay. Us kids are going to be okay. So when you're ready,
Yeah.
go ahead and go." So giving her that permission that it's okay, us kids are going to be fine. Um, Go ahead when you're ready, when you are ready,
Hmm.
when you've had enough of being in pain and everything, it is your time. And that's what she did. She gave that time. It was her free will. 2 weeks later, she had passed. And she passed the day after Valentine's Day. So she gave that one last
Wow.
Valentine's Day to my dad. That
Wow.
um yeah, so she gave that one last day to my dad, and then she passed. And
Oh, wow.
that's what I think she was waiting for. She was waiting for that
Hmm.
one special moment with dad, and she had the permission. I gave her the permission that us kids are going to be fine, that she can go, and so she went. And that's happened a
Oh.
couple times now to me, not really realizing it, but I've given permission in a distance telepathically. I'm just giving them permission. It's okay. And
Yeah.
one of them passed 2 days after I said that.
Wow.
2 days after I gave them permission that their kids are going to be okay, that it was okay to go when you're ready.
Hmm.
2 days
Yeah.
later, he passed. And it's like, oh,
Wow.
but it's
Right.
still okay because these people are in pain.
Hmm.
The memory's not there. They're not feeling up to who they were. So I'm
Were.
just letting
Yeah.
them know, when you're ready, it's okay. We'll
It's
be okay.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm gonna say, like, I'm gonna tell you, like, so, um, it's funny. So being a medium and being able to hear, I went to one of my great aunts passed away, and I remember showing up to the funeral home. It was late in the evening because, like, I had to work, so I was there after the majority of the crowd had already come and gone during the visitation portion. And I walk in, and I heard her say something, and I was like, "Well, thank you, Aunt Marie. I appreciate that." And then I heard her gasp, like, "Oh, she can hear me."
Oh, that's
So,
pretty cool.
and yeah, and then, like, and so I had another great aunt who just recently passed away. She was 99 years old.
Oh my.
Um, and at her funeral, I hear something behind me, but there's nothing here. Okay, sorry.
It's your aunt. It's your aunt. She's
Man,
coming.
coming
She's
there.
talking to you. I'll see if I can see something behind you. I'll
Oh,
watch
let me see.
you.
Okay, you watch. But my aunt that recently passed, it's like when we went into the sanctuary for the funeral service itself, like I could sense not only her there, but her son, her her late husband who had already passed, my grandparents, like I could sense all of them there. And
Mhm.
that's pretty
Nice.
neat. Like, like when you go to these places and for these, I know they're life celebrations, right? But like you can sense them there because it's an event for them, right? I mean, it's an event for them, like a wedding or a birthday or whatever, right? And so for them, it's more like I think they all come and visit not only to see what's happening, but to also see all the family members and friends together. Because how often do we have family reunions at a funeral?
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah. That's really
it's,
cool.
it's like,
Are they still there?
I hear stuff going on behind me, and it's like I got these earbuds in that's supposed to like, I don't know. Okay.
Well, what's the strangest thing that you've had? Because I've been to several funerals,
Mhm.
and I've never had the feel that that person was going to move except for my grandma. I remember going to the viewing, seeing my grandma, and just
Mhm.
waiting for her to sit up. What is your thoughts on that? And I've never had that with any other. What do you think? I feel like now looking back that she was trying to get up. She was trying to sit up and maybe talk to me or something.
I think so too. I think that she was kind of there and was wanting to be like, get your attention. And, but of course she couldn't move the body. Oh my God. Could you
Body.
imagine?
Yeah,
Yeah. I do feel though that she was there and she was trying. I think she was trying to get your attention. I think it's more of just letting you know that she's not gone. She's just different. Right? It's like I'm
that
still
sounds
here
right.
just because you can't see me and you can't touch me. I'm still here.
Okay.
Right?
And that makes
Yeah,
sense now looking back because I wasn't in this um
in this space.
openness at yeah, in this space at that point.
Yeah.
So now looking back, I think you're right. I think she was trying to talk to me. And I
Yeah.
felt that. I
And
felt her trying to sit up to talk to me or something.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
could see, yeah, definitely. And it's like, I mean, I'm here. I'm not gone. And what I was so like my best friend passed away. Sunday will be what's 6 years? Yeah, so this coming up Sunday will be 6 years since her passing. Um, and I remember like once I got to the point to where I was okay connecting with her. Believe me, I shut down. I shut down for about 3 years because of it. So once I got to the point where I could connect to her and start communicating with her again, I asked her, I was like, what's the one thing you can tell me most? Like, what's the best thing, like when you pass over? And she's like, all of a sudden, you can be everywhere all at once. Like, you're expansive and you can be everywhere all at once. You're not just stuck to one place like you are here in the physical. So, like, if she wants to visit me and her mom and her niece and her brothers all at the same time, she can. If she wants to do that and go to Paris, right? or or whatever, like she can. Like it's all instant and it's all at once. It doesn't have to be, you can't be two places at one time. That's not a thing anymore at that point. You can be multiple places all at once or everywhere at once, is basically kind of what she said. Like you can just be everywhere at once. And that's
So
pretty
that
cool.
was her greatest whole thing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. But I
Yeah, I
will
think
say, so I definitely do believe in ghosts. I mean, you have another podcast or had another podcast that talked about that. And I definitely do believe in the ghosts and the paranormal. And I guess it's kind of like, what are your thoughts on it? Because I think there's two things going on, right? Outside of a residual energy that keeps repeating and repeating and repeating. So that's kind of separate. I feel that one, it could be an individual that's here that has chosen not to go home, I guess is a good way to put it. That they just don't want to. There's some that are here, they don't know that they can. And I think there's some that just come and visit just to see how much they can freak us out.
I think you're right on the one. I think it's partly because they don't know how to leave.
Yeah.
I think the residual is still here because they have unfinished business. So either they have to finish with this job that they were in the midst of doing or this learning situation that they came to do as their
Yeah.
contract in that life, and they're not ready to leave because they haven't learned that lesson and they were supposed to,
Right.
so they're still here for that.
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
think that was part of it. um, the residual, the looping, because there's a looping on some people where they'll come
Mm-hmm.
back and they'll just keep replaying and replaying and replaying and
Mm-hmm.
replaying that one part in their life. Um, I think that is one where they're just, you know how we get set on a thought and we just keep replaying that thought, where we just can't
Yes.
past that thought. We just keep replaying
Mm-hmm.
it, or like a song that comes on the radio and it gets stuck in our head and we just keep repeating and repeating and
Yeah.
singing the same line over and over and over, like
Yeah.
all day. Well, that's kind of, I think, what they're doing is they're stuck in that event and they just keep replaying, and they're
Replaying
not
it
sure how
over.
to get out, and they haven't
Wow.
figured out how to handle that situation. They haven't learned
Yeah.
how to um, work with it, deal with it, or move past this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes they just don't want to. I mean, they want to stay there and dwell on what that situation is.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like if they were burned
Because
in a fire or something like that, they just keep replaying that same death over and over and over. You know,
I feel for them. If that's what they're doing, I
yeah,
really feel for them because that's not fun.
yeah.
Right?
And
Mm.
there again, we're going back to free will. So they have that right
Yeah.
to do that. But we can go as living beings to help them. We can ask
Mm-hmm.
them, would you like to move on? Would you like to go home? And if they say yes in their free will, then we can say, how
Mm-hmm.
can we do that? Let me help you. And say, follow the light. Or see if we can bring somebody from the other side over to help them.
Yeah.
Or we can say, hey, who were you very close with? Maybe we could call them in to help you move across or something
Oh, yeah.
like.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you ever done any of that work or know someone who has?
No, that's mainly what I feel like I've just done. It's when you're ready, move on. I
Right.
should take that back. I did have a voice come through. I'll back up a little bit. I was driving to work for about a week and I kept feeling this energy behind me sitting in my back seat. Kept feeling
Mm-hmm.
it, kept feeling it. And I tried to start talking to it, trying to get, okay, I feel you back there. What's going on? What's the deal?
Mhm.
And then one early morning, I heard this really raspy voice come through and says, "Help
Oh, wow.
me, like, help me." And I go, "Okay,
Wow.
okay, I'm on it. Let's help you get over. I hear your cry. I hear your
Mhm.
desperation. So let's get you over. It's okay to move on. You have friends and relatives waiting for you on the other side. Just follow that light. Follow the tunnel. Follow.
Mhm.
Never heard of him since. So
Oh,
he came to
wow.
me. So yeah, he came to me to help him go over because I guess I was open enough for him to catch that and to be able to move forward so I can
Yeah,
talk to him.
I
So yeah.
absolutely. That's amazing. And I
Yeah.
mean, that's amazing. That's a beautiful thing you did. I will say, so anybody that does have the gift to hear, well, any gifts really, but
Mhm.
especially the ones to hear and feel, they can hear and feel, I kind of look at it like, we kind of like, we're kind of like a lighthouse for spirits.
Mhm.
And especially when we first turn on our gifts or we first tune into our gifts, not necessarily turn on, because mine were on way before I realized what they were.
Mhm.
So it's not necessarily that we turn them on, but it's more like when we tune into them,
When we
it's kind
awake.
of like, yeah, it's like we become this beacon of light, and then all of a sudden we can get very overwhelmed with the spirits and the energies that can come through because you've now turned on your light. You're the lighthouse that's going around, and they're like, oh, they can hear me. I need to go talk to them. Oh, they can see me. I need to go show myself to them. Oh, they can sense me. I need to go, do this because they want to be heard, seen, or whatever. And it may just be to give a message. Um,
Right.
and I want to tell you, the message may not make any sense. Sometimes I just need to get it out. I was early on, I went to my best friend's house and I was doing a reading, right? I was doing my automatic reading, and all of a sudden this other voice comes through, and this guy, he sounds panicked. He's really upset, and I can feel his energy, and I start crying with him, basically. And apparently, he was in an automobile accident,
Oh.
and he just wanted to get the message back to his daughter and his wife that he was sorry. It didn't mean for him to happen, and that he all the stuff that he regretted. So I just wrote it all down. I mean, I got
Mhm.
his name, but I didn't get their name. Like, I don't know who the message goes to, but I think just him getting it out and somebody being able to hear it and process it was enough for him to let go of that and and return, right? Or go home, right?
Yeah.
Just
Right.
cross over that veil. Yeah,
And
because I
that
was in
goes both
tears. I was
ways.
crying.
Yeah, that goes both ways too. So, like in his instance, he's the one that was hanging on to earth. He was living,
Hmm.
um, wasn't able to cut the cord for the 3D life.
Yeah.
Other instances, you have the family members that won't let go, that won't let that person pass.
Yes.
And so when they do pass, they're like stuck, bound to the 3D, and that's another reason that they can stay here, is a family member was like, no, you can't leave, and I need you, and that kind of stuff. So the living needs to be able to allow them to move on.
Yeah.
Yes, it's hard for the living. Yes, it's going to be saddening, and yes, it's you got things to figure out, and all these emotions are going
Hmm.
on. But at the same time, it's in the path, it's in their journey to be passing at that point. And so it is okay for you to continue. You will be okay. So allowing
Yeah.
yourself to heal faster will allow that person to move
To
home
move on.
faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
you're cutting. Yeah, because you're setting them free, right? I mean,
right,
you're letting go of those things that are binding them here. Very good.
right.
Very
Yeah.
good. That's so interesting. And so, I've heard people say, oh, well, you can't connect with spirit until after they're gone for so many weeks or so many days. I don't, I think you can know right away. I think that they can connect with you right away, like almost instantly. I think they can. I've heard stories of people knowing, well, I know exactly when, my mom passed or whatever. Um, so I think you can know instantly. Um, I know somebody's father, so my friend who passed away, her father passed away several years before, and she called me the night that it happened, and they were in Hilton Head on vacation when it happened, and I was like, so I gave her my condolences, and we worked together, so I let people at work know that she wasn't going to get back right away, because of those. Well, that night I went to bed, and I swear I felt somebody sit on the foot of my bed. I didn't even ask who it was. I was like, whoever you are, we'll take this up tomorrow. We're not doing this now. I got to go to bed. And so the next morning I get up and I go to work, and sure enough, I sensed them sitting in the back seat of my car. And I'm like, who is it? And it was her dad. And so I turned on the recorder on my phone and just started talking and repeating everything that I was getting. And then when I got to work, I typed it all out for her. and
Oh,
and I typed it all out and I put it on her desk and it said, only when you're ready. Because he had a message for her, and so I just put on there, only when you're ready, and set it on her desk. So I don't know when she actually opened it or if she ever did, but I'm sure she
yeah,
did. But
yeah.
but yeah, they can
I
come right
I don't
away.
know. I think I don't know. I feel like it depends on that soul. If
Yeah,
some of them need
absolutely.
to
I
heal
agree.
and whatnots, if they have to go in and do a past life, to kind of see what they need to change for the next life,
Hmm.
or going through that process of moving over is like settling in at a new house. So I don't know if some people could settle in faster than others. I'm not quite sure about that. I mean, I hear different stories on that. I know my
I wonder
mom.
if it's.
I know my mom was made herself available for my brother to see as she went to the light.
Hmm.
But
But
I
see, I
don't
don't know
know
if
how.
he actually went to the light. I think he was still here. Like, I don't think he had actually gone to the light. So I'm wondering, this is just a theory, and you're welcome to,
Right.
say what you think, but I wonder, like, if they just pass, if they're aware enough that of what's happening, can they go and see whoever they need to see and then go to the light? And then if they're there, then whatever they have to do, their life review, any healing that the soul needs to go through or whatever, and it could be a while later before we hear from them again.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm imagining the movie Ghost.
Yeah, because he
So
stuck around for a while, right?
yeah,
To get closure, yeah, on his death, right? So
yeah,
they could find the people who killed him. And so,
right.
yeah, it could be something very similar to that, right? Who
Yeah.
knows?
And that's what I kind of feel with that is some people need
Yeah.
that little extra time because he had to learn how to move things with energy
Mm-hmm.
instead of with physical. So yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the soul, how the soul is open. If they're maybe if
Mm-hmm.
they're open as a 3D human, they will be open enough to be able to get to their new home
Yeah.
sooner than another person. I mean, that's kind of what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah. So I'll just, yeah. I just wonder. All right, so we'll make a pact. Okay, whoever goes first will come back and visit the other one and tell them exactly what happens, right?
There we go. All right, Summer, this is how it goes. At least for me, because I mean, I think it also depends on the way you're thinking and whatnots too. I mean, where you are, because I've heard of people say they go to hell and they go to heaven. So, I mean, what is your thoughts on that? Because I had a guest on my show that went to hell, and then she's like, no way, not even. And she started singing Christmas songs. And they're like, no, you can't do that here. And she's like,
Uh-huh.
watch me. And she kept singing. They booted her out and she went to heaven. And before she came back. So it's like, who
Was that a belief? Like, did she? I guess she believed in a hell, right?
I believe she was Catholic, if I remember correctly. I believe she was Catholic. So, I mean, I think it kind of depends on your religious status of where you are,
Yeah.
of where your mind might be at that time of passing.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, I don't know, but you hear both sides. And some will say there is not a hell, and others say, oh, yeah, there is.
Yeah.
So,
I
I
don't
mean,
think. Yeah.
were you
I mean, I know the Bible taught me that there was, but I don't believe that there's one. I believe there's just an afterlife, and I want to kind of like go by Prince's song. We're gathered here today to get through this thing called life. I was like, but honestly, I don't know. And I'm trying to be my goal. Um, so I've set the intention. I don't know if it'll stay the same, but years ago, I set the intention that whenever I pass, it is weird to have an intention for when you pass, right? But
your free will?
But my thing is like my intention is to experience what the truth is, not what any religious bias I may have or or anything else. Like I want to experience the truth of what happens. That's what I've asked for. Like whenever it's my time, whatever the the reality truth is, not a bias of what I was brought up with or what I've been taught or anything like that. I want to experience
I
it for
think
what it
you're
really
already
is.
there because with you being open, I think you're already there. You're going to go where it's the truth for you. Your
Yeah.
truth is going to happen. And that's how I probably think all of this is happening. But different people having a different situation is because it's their truth.
It's there. Yeah.
So I don't
So
think
I
you
don't
can have.
want my truth. I want the truth. Like I don't want mine because I'm wrong a lot. So
But if you have the truth, but everyone has their, so how do you have the truth? Is there a the truth?
let's just go with just be true. I don't know.
That kind of went deep, didn't it? It was like
It
there is
did go
no
deep,
truth.
right?
Everyone has a free will.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see. We'll have this conversation in the afterlife.
Okay. All right. So
So
what was it?
I won't be
The
the
truth
first
or
to meet you
your truth?
there, but I'll be there shortly after the first ones, right? And then
Ah,
we're gonna sit there and laugh
there
about
you
it.
go. Yeah.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. Oh wow. Well, thank you. This
so
has been fun.
at at this moment, what would be your truth of heaven? At this moment, what is your truth of
I
the
can,
afterlife for
um,
you? If you were to
for
pass right
me,
at this moment, what would you feel like would happen?
So I have a bias there, and it's called the. I have a bias because I I read all the Michael Newton books of the Lives Between Lives, and so it's kind of like you kind of get swept up. You're a ball, you're a ball of energy, and you get swept up, and you go to this other reality, which is here but not here. Like it's it's just a different. It's here but it's not here. I don't know. Um, I understand that the afterlife, when you return home, that it's like constant music that's plays, but it's not really music. It's more like it's kind of like a constant music there that plays. And you can go to classes or you can do nothing. You can learn more. You can go visit wherever. You can create whatever. If you think of something, it's there. If you want something, it's there. You can create any form in which you wish to be in at that point. Um, and you have your guides and your teachers and archangels and things there, but the archangels don't have wings, right? Um, they're just embodiments of light, I guess. It's kind of, I don't know. And so I have these things, I have visions in my mind. I don't know how to really explain them all. I've heard people say they get swept up in tubes, and fly around in these tubes till they get there. I've heard that there's like a life review, so you're sitting in front of like a screen and kind of like a movie screen that goes through all your life review, and it's not only what you did do, but what could have happened. So you've had those things. Well, what would have happened if I had, married so and so instead of, my husband today, and it would take you through all those scenarios, so you can see them all. Yeah, wow, man, I'm gonna be there for a long time doing that. That's for sure.
So, in other words, your truth is having free will. Your
Yeah.
truth of moving over is free will. And what I thought of something else to say too. Free will. What else were you saying? I'm sorry. I just spaced what you had the free will. What was that? The music. The music was going on consistently.
Music.
The music is
Yeah.
light language. It's not necessarily music, possibly. It's light language that everyone's talking all the time. Everyone's communicating all the time. So now you have
Like,
music.
I want some clappers, those little clappers, like,
So now you have a free will life that you're looking towards. Free
yeah.
will, your
Hmm.
truth, everyone's own truth of free will.
Yeah.
And you'll be talking light language.
I have a friend who does light language, and it's so amazing. Oh,
So
so
beautiful.
amazing. I was like, we went
So
to a
beautiful.
conference a couple of weeks ago, and she got to meet one of the speakers. I was like, well, did you tell him you do light language? And she's like, why would I tell him that? I'm like, that is so amazing. Why wouldn't you?
It is so amazing. I've been listening to some meditations the last few nights on with the light language in there.
So
It's so
yeah, so I told her, I was
beautiful.
like, I want to bring my crystal bowls over. I told her, I was like, I'm going to bring my crystal bowls over, and then you're going to do your light language, and I'm going to record it. And then we're going to do a meditation on top of that and put it on YouTube. So I'll let you know when we do that.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
like,
Let me know.
okay. I'm like, all right, if you're game, I can just do my bowls and you can do the light language. I mean, it's like, and it's amazing because it's amazing. Some of it she understands it as it's coming through, and
Mhm.
some of it she doesn't understand it until afterwards. And I think what happens from my understanding is if it's all right, so the light language she can understand as it's coming through. Like she can understand what it's meaning as it's coming through. But when she goes into the singing of it, that's when she doesn't understand it. And so a lot of times after she does the singing, she journals. And when she journals, she's given the transcription of what she just sang.
So she can understand it hearing it, but she doesn't understand it speaking it.
She understands it speaking it. She doesn't understand it singing it. So she'll do it too. So she does it. So like she did a reading for me one day, and it's like at first she just starts the light language of speaking, and then all of a sudden she goes into song. And it's when she goes into song is when she no longer understands it. But when she goes into song, and when she no longer understands it, that's when it skips the binary of the mind and goes straight to the heart. And
Mm.
so,
Very
from my understanding, that's what happens. It's straight from the heart. And then, like, she was doing that to me, and I was there in kind of like a meditative state, just receiving it. And then all of a sudden, I just felt this jolt just like surge through me. And it was like everything just like jerked. But I was still in that space. And like when she finished, I'm like, I felt like I just went home. Whatever you saying just took me home, and I felt like I was home. I mean, it was just amazing. God, it's
it
just
is
amazing. And have
amazing.
somebody do it just for you. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Ask them to
What
do it just for you, because there's nothing like it. My hair's a mess. Because there's nothing like it. I mean, I'm like, can you do it
wow.
again? I can sit in front of her. Do it again.
Yeah,
Like the little 2-year-old that doesn't want you to stop.
right. Read me another story, Mom. Read me another story. Yeah, this woman
Exactly.
I was listening to last night, um, or this morning, I can't remember now. But one of them, it, I was almost in tears listening to
Wow.
it. So that is the language that I feel like I'm going to be learning. I'm going to learn that language. It's going to start coming through here, I feel.
Nice.
So that would be
Nice.
so exciting to be
Yes.
able to do that. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that would be
So
cool.
yeah, it was
I think it'd
very.
be hard to get started because it doesn't make any sense, right?
Mm.
Like it's just a
But
whole bunch of syllables.
they teach
Yeah,
you, and I
yeah.
think there's different light languages too. I think there's different ones.
Yes.
So each being has their own language. Like we have the different languages. We
Here.
have
Yeah.
English, and we have Italian. We have, yeah. So we have
Yeah.
all of that different with them too. And I think it's gonna be so
It's gonna be
awesome.
awesome. You'll have to share. You'll have to share. I'm telling you, you'll have to
I will
share.
share once I learn it.
Yep. All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. This has been awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, this was
yeah.
great.
So just to remind everybody, if you want to submit pictures for future readings for consideration, please do so. You can do so at 22
22. Yeah,
Truth
22.
and Light at gmail.com.
Yep.
Yep. Or the number that, Dana told us earlier, you can always call and leave a message there as well. Feel free to leave your comments in our chat and leave your comments. And also, if you have some recommendations for future show topics, please share. I think tonight
Yeah,
went
here,
great, and I
I'll
would love
put
to
that
have
in
just
there.
some more conversations. Yeah.
I'll put that email in the chat here.
Perfect. So, yeah, so we'll be back maybe in 2 weeks, maybe not. So in 2 weeks is 4th of July weekend, so we're probably going to come back probably around July 11th. We'll definitely, 4th of July, everybody's going to be celebrating. And so
Yeah.
probably July 11th will probably be the next time we're back here. So look for us. And in the meantime, check out our shorts, and, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Have a great one, everyone. Bye.